attacks. A study by the NYU Stern Center for Business and Human Rights has found that the right-wing influencers have been at the forefront of posting anti-Muslim hateful content on YouTube. My colleague Nidhi Rausan spoke with Paul Barrett, the Deputy Director and Senior Research Scholar. Let's just listen in.
I'm joined now by Paul Barrett, the Deputy Director and Senior Research Scholar who has written that report. Mr. Barrett, thanks for joining us. Your report says that influencers backing the BJP have used YouTube videos in particular to spread hateful content that targets Muslims and women. Tell us more about this and how they're weaponizing YouTube.
Yeah, well, YouTube is very effective because it is by far the most prominent long-form video platform, and that form of communication is something that can be very persuasive and can make the viewer assume that whatever the performer on the platform is saying is true and valid because it looks like real life as opposed to just being text. For that reason, and because of YouTube's extraordinary reach, more than 450 million users in India alone, its largest market, makes YouTube very, very influential.
Well, what is some of the hateful content that you actually came across while researching this report?
Sure. Well, keeping the focus on India, I mean, there are politicians who suggested, Hindu politicians suggesting that Muslims ought to be taken out and shot. Young men making videos from public source images of Muslim women and proposing facetiously, of course, that they could be bought and sold. But that kind of video prompts others to comment on the women and to talk about raping them and so forth. And then another way that the platform is misused is that old events that have taken place years ago are repurposed and made to look as if they've happened just recently. So if there's been a conflict or violence or military activity, it can be very confusing for viewers who are not paying close attention.
Finally, though, Mr. Barrett, what does that say about moderation on YouTube? As you've pointed out, the popular support for the BJP actually puts big tech companies in a dilemma when it comes to balancing free speech issues with hate speech.
Well, there is a dilemma, as you say, but the proper way to resolve the dilemma is to play by the rules that the company has itself set out. So that if there are rules against hateful speech or conduct, those rules ought to be enforced. The bigger problem for YouTube, I think, than the pressure from the government is just the vastness of YouTube itself. The company was set up and grew so quickly that it now supports content that it itself has trouble analyzing. I mean, they do much better, for example, in English in the United States, where content moderation system, both automated and human, kind of understands what people are saying. But in India, where people are using multiple languages that the moderation systems are not so good at discerning, you end up with much less effective moderation.
All right, Paul Barrett, thank you very much for joining us.